everybody, and welcome. It's Monday, December 16th, 2019. I am Ian Glendon, and I am joined by the only, the one and only Mr. Rhode Island. He is Mike Debate. He is my co-host. Mike, how are we doing this morning? La. Oh, there we are. You cut out for a second.
Interesting. We should be doing pretty good. Oh, I cut out for a second.
No, you're good. You're good. You're back.
La 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 in because
Yeah, no. We got that.
Yep.
I think the la 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 was so intense and sounding that it just knocked out all internet in Rhode Island.
I temporarily knocked out full press radio, so
Yep.
that's good. I'll take that as a good sign. That's a good way to begin the week. What's not a good way to begin the week is a lot of moronic people out there. But I'm sure we'll save the airing of grievances for next week, as that will be epic. No, all in all, doing pretty well. Had a good weekend. Great weekend in the NFL.
Yes.
A lot of great action. A lot of good stuff happening. So let's get right to it, my friend.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And look, I mean, I know it's cliche to say this, or I know everyone's gonna mention this, like, oh well, I can't believe it's this. I can't believe we're already through week 15, and I'm excited for the playoffs, but at the same time, it's bittersweet because that we're just a handful of weeks away from that awful 6-month stretch where we don't have football anymore. Fortunately, we'll have another Patriots cheating controversy to talk about for the next 20 fucking effing months. Apologize, folks. that was yes. Well, again.
Monday, yeah.
I woke up angry this morning, and not so much angry, just angry, frustration, just utter, I lack the energy that I need to deal with a bunch of nonsense like this again, and again we will talk about it because it's all the buzz around the NFL world because it's the New England Patriots, and clearly they needed some sort of advantage to beat the Bengals. I can't. You know what? Let's start there because I can't get it out of my mind. I keep wanting to shift over to talk about some of this NFL stuff, and we will. Trust me. There's going to be plenty of stuff to talk about. But it's hard not to start with what I'm just baffled is still a thing right now. I mean, I guess not really, because even I said when this first happened like a week ago that this was going to have about a 10-year shelf life, and it seems like that's the case. So, of course, we're talking about hashtag Spygate 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yes, that's right. The craziness that is this absolutely absurd quote-unquote controversy. So, let's just put it bluntly. The only reason, the only way you believe this is cheating is if you believe, or you just ignore every bit of circumstantial evidence that surrounds this case. Everything we know about this case, Patriots asking for credentials, doing everything out in the open, not having any sort of cameraman and any other opponent of the Patriots this year, which would kind of completely defeat the purpose of this grand cheating scheme. And then you just factor into account it's the damn Bengals, the 1-12 Bengals. Like, you would think, and I was hoping actually that in this situation that logic and reason would prevail.
Gotta stay focused, man. Keep that stick on there.
Screwed that one up.
Reason will prevail.
Thank you. There we go. Reason will prevail. No, it didn't. Because again, if you look at this whole situation logically, if you look at it without that slant of I want the Patriots to be found guilty. I mean, and that's the problem. People see the first few lines or the first few headlines that we saw, and they're like, you know what? The Patriots obviously did this. Well, did they? Did they? Because it seems. I mean, look. I think everyone will sit there and say Bill Belichick's a pretty smart guy. I think the organization is pretty smart. To say that they purposely did this in front of every single person in that media room it's that's beyond stupid if you're in the New England Patriots. That's utterly idiotic. I mean, there's no logical way you can sit there and be. I mean, this is like the classic like terrible criminal. Oh, we're gonna do it right in front of everyone. I mean, that's stupid. I mean, if they really wanted that, if they really wanted that information, if it was that vital to what they were trying to do, and they were trying to decipher what, Zach Taylor, the big bad Zach Taylor, the 1-12 Zach Taylor was doing as coach of the Bengals, they could have sent a unmarked person into the stands with a cell phone, and they would have got better footage. Because, again, people are ignoring the fact that they don't even look at the scoreboard. They don't look at down and distance. So what kind of information can you glean from that when you have no reference point? You have no idea when it was taken, what people are coming in and out, what play, this, that, and the other. It's just it's so stupid because it's showing the people that just want the Patriots to be guilty. Damn the facts. Who cares about circumstantial evidence? This is the explanation for this is as simple as it is. The Patriots video guy that was not part of the actual team, but yet part of a third-party video production company that's part of Kraft Sports. I mean, there is a separation between the two. I've seen a lot of that lately, too. It's like, oh, well, he was hired by the Patriots, so he's part of the team. Okay, so if the caterers went out and took video film from their cell phone, would the Patriots be responsible for that? Because guess what? Technically, they hired those caterers, too, So I've seen that a lot. That's, again, another... another awful tactic trying to say, oh, the Patriots. This is a simple explanation. There's a video crew there doing their job, filming on a scout. Likely, they weren't really thinking about what was actually happening during the game, or who cares about a Bengals a Browns game. They were there filming what they were told to do, and that was the scout. They had already filmed some pre-interviews. They had filmed some stuff before the game. Now it was time to film what the advanced scout, which every team has. So don't even start with, oh, why did they have a scout there? Well, because that's what smart teams do. Every team does that. They send an advanced scout to scout your future opponents. It's how football works. So this crew is there to film what he did. So what he's doing is watching the field, watching the substitutions, trying to figure out any sort of information he can. So you pan to the field, you pan to the guy talking about it. It's a simple explanation of they were getting background footage, and that was that. The camera guy screwed up. Didn't realize he wasn't able to do that, and that was that. There's nothing nefarious about it. There's nothing, no grand scheme of behind the scenes trying to decipher signals of one team. I mean, it's like, look, if you're gonna do this, why are you doing it to the Bengals? Why not the Chiefs? Why not the Ravens? Why not the Texans? I mean, come on, just use logic, just for once. Reasonably think about this objectively. Don't use your anti-New England bias or your incessant need to hate the Patriots. I mean, you get people up here throwing out these judgments saying, "Oh, they have to be gone. They're serial cheaters." Blah blah blah. How are they the only ones who got this moniker of being serial cheaters? I mean, this has just been another opportunity for us to go back and look at some of the older situations, like the Jets being in this exact same situation, and no one cared. Or the Dolphins recording or claiming to have audio recordings of Tom Brady's audibles. No one cared. No one gave a crap. They just whatever, poo-poo, whatever. And then you talk about other teams filming issues or cheating the salary cap or fibbing the injury report. Multiple teams have multiple instances, but yet the Patriots are the only ones who get the label of cheating. And the ironic thing is, the history is built primarily on a bunch of misinformation and basically sour grapes, because how many instances are they going to be accused in which it's not proven? Because right now my counts, I've lost count. It's been so many times that they've been accused of things and not proven. So I just went on a ridiculous rant, and I apologize because I was all over the place there. But my frustration is seeping through, Mike, and I gotta... I gotta take a deep breath and come back to earth here.
No, it is, and it's warranted. Listen, man, take a deep breath, get a sip of coffee, collect your thoughts. You're angry. George is getting upset, and I understand that. And you know what? And beyond that, no, seriously, and you have every right to be, because this is ridiculous, and that's exactly what it is. You called it that. It is ridiculous. Look, it's again back to the analogy I love to use. I hate having to use it, but it is so appropriate. They drink the sand. They don't drink the sand because they're thirsty. They drink the sand because they don't want to know the difference. They want to believe that sand is water, and they'll drink it down and enjoy it. Look, the bottom line is if you can find a shred of doubt in anyone's mind about the Patriots' validity or about their integrity, it will be exploited. It'll be exploited by the national media. It'll be exploited by fans who have nothing but hatred in their soul for the New England Patriots. Just take a look at Twitter and the cesspool of people that are out there bad mouthing this team. You see it every single week. I mean, even before this news story broke, some of the things that are tweeted out about Tom Brady are disgusting. Thoughts that these people have that function in normal society, that are walking around among actual, like, decent human beings, really should be a concern for people. I mean, it really, really should be. Some of the things that you read about these players and about teams and wishes and how, I don't even want to repeat some of them, because really, I mean, it is that disgusting and that ridiculous. So a story like this is going to catch fire. You ask the question, how did it become so big? How did it become? We both know the answer, and you've expounded on that as well. Points that you really made that I want to touch on. Freelancers. This was a freelance photographer and videographer that was doing this, folks. I spoke to Matt Chatham, who is a former New England Patriot, current analyst for Nesson and The Athletic, on Friday. And Matt and I had a very good discussion. We went on for a good period of time. And Matt lent a lot of insight on this from someone who actually knows what he's talking about, not someone that's throwing spitballs out there hoping to get a few likes on Twitter. Matt's actually hitting between the eyes and telling you reality. Whether you want to hear it or not is really up to the audience. It's up to who listens. If you don't want to listen, you're not going to listen. Again, like I think what you said on either Thursday or Friday here on FBC Radio Live, you stick your fingers in your ears and go, la, 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 not listening, Patriots cheating. That's it. That's what you want to do. If that's what you're going to do, no one is going to change your mind. No reality, no logic, nothing is going to change these people's minds. But anyone that's even a little bit on the fence, I encourage you to listen to this. Freelancers do not know NFL rules. They're not supposed to know NFL rules. They are supposed to go in and do their job, quote unquote. Sorry, it's a pun, but it fits. That's exactly what this guy, David Mendilla, was doing when he went in there. He was doing his job. He was filming, did not realize he shouldn't be filming the field. The actual footage, people are so hung up on the background noise and the actual commentary in the back that they're not really looking at the footage. Did you see the footage? There is nothing decipherable in that footage that in any way would help a New England Patriots team, or any team for that matter, decipher what the hell these signals are doing. You and I follow football pretty closely. We're starting to, be able to read a little bit on sideline activity and things of that nature. You look at this and there's nothing there that warrants it. It's the commentary in the background. What you did is you caught somebody that's a freelancer trying to do his job, caught him doing something he shouldn't be doing. You're calling him out, and yes, he's going to be nervous as a result. I don't think that's blockbuster news here, but yet people are acting like he was caught red-handed, that he was caught with the rifle in the sniper's nest on the third floor of the school book depository. It's not that simple, folks. All right. The second point that you made and the expounding that you made is, there's no way on earth the New England Patriots would have been that stupid to ask for credentials, go up there and do what they needed to do, and this be the only team that they did it for. They did not do this this was not an elaborate scheme or an elaborate, opportunity for them to be able to do it. They didn't take footage on any other team. This was it because it was part of the documentary that they were doing, and it was just, unfortunately, it was wrong place at the wrong time. And lastly, and I think a point that not too many people are bringing up, is if you really want to know what happened, why are we seeing this like 30-second to a minute 30-second snippet of it? I thought there were 8 minutes of footage. Where's the rest of the 8 minutes? Where's the rest of this footage that probably will lend a lot more insight on this matter than what we've seen? No, again, national narrative. Got to drive it. Put the most damning part in there and make the Patriots look as bad as we possibly can. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely asinine. You have every right to be upset. I'm upset. And I think that it lends into the fact that really, I mean, what are we doing here? Is this a glorified witch hunt? Salem is really like far north of Foxborough, folks. If you want to study about that, just take a drive up 95 and you'll be able to hit that. This is not the time or the place to do it. And quite frankly, it's just not warranted.
You know how to accuse the Patriots of cheating. You just don't know how to prove it.
And that's really the point of
yeah,
doing
that's
it.
the
Anybody
point.
could just accuse them.
Because honestly that's exactly where we are in this, because again I mean, just count all the ridiculous, oh, they messed with the headsets, or there's warm Gatorade, or they stole playbooks out of hotels, or they pulled fire alarms, or I mean, one of the stories you used to hear as a kid is the boy who cried wolf. Well, guess what, all these little boys, because that's what they are, they're children crying because they can't beat the Patriots, have cried wolf so many times that this will just eventually get, no matter the outcome. Again, and the simplest explanation is it was just a mistake. It was an honest mistake that has horrible, horrible optics, because there's a bunch of people out there that are so hurt about losing to the Patriots. I have no other explanation and can't accept responsibility themselves. I mean, case in point, guys like Nick Wright. I mean, he'll go up there and say, "Oh, well, he had that snarky little D-bag comment, oh, well, the Chiefs did this without having to spy." Well, clearly you're misrepresenting the entire case. And the unfortunate thing is he has a platform, so a bunch of knuckleheads are going to go on, watch his stuff, and be like, yeah, all right, go Nick, I love your hair. And your points, I love it. You're so smart. And people are just going to eat it up, and they're going to quote that and cite that from here on out and be like, oh, well, Nick Wright, he's clearly got a slant, and this is something that resonates with a lot of people, because guess what, they can't accept the fact that their team lost to the Patriots. I mean, Ryan Clark, case in point, you got burned by the Patriots, you got smoked by the Patriots on multiple occasions, and you can't accept that. Guess what, here's some advice: accept it, move on with your life, and work at being a better analyst, because clearly you're using your inner judgment, your inner feelings, that are clearly misguided, because again, you lost, so you have this slanted view against the Patriots. Just stop it. Be a better analyst. Be objective. Do your job. Just like the videographer was doing his job for Craft Productions, not the Patriots. So again, this is just something that I was mentally preparing myself all week for this to come about, and hey, we're right here, and as we speak, I see a poll go up on First Take. Do you believe Belichick should be suspended? And it's 65-35 yes. Like, and there's like 2,500 votes.
Of course, they're going to say.
And it's like,
yeah.
Why?
Of course, they're going to say he should be suspended when the guy did not do anything wrong in this circumstance. Did he do something wrong in the first incarnation of Spygate? Yes, he videotaped from the wrong location after the league told him not to. They told him these are the designated areas. Belichick did it in a different area. He did ignore. He was punished for it. The team was punished for it, and they've moved on. So many people think that Spygate was so much more than what it was, and it's nauseating. No one bothers to read the actual facts. Deflategate could have been diffused in about 3 hours. Listen to the Bill Belichick press conference, the Mona Lisa Vito press conference, and he actually nails it and pinpoints the fact that this was ridiculous. This is what happened. You want to believe it? Fine. You don't. Kiss my ass is basically what he's saying. And, bottom line is people just did not want to believe that. They're hearing 11 out of 12 footballs overinflated. You're hearing, all this ridiculous, stuff about, the NFL guys telling them at halftime, well, you're in a lot of friggin' trouble here. And, it's that stupid narrative that you can constantly, I took a journalism course in college, and when it was an introductory journalism course, I did take a few, but that was just just in case anybody's wondering, I have done a little bit of I do have a little bit of background here, folks. But I did take an introductory journalism class in college, and it was my freshman year, and I'm still kind of green and not really kind of feeling my way out. And basically what happened was the professor had started a rumor. It had started a rumor about the president of the college wearing boxer shorts. And by the end of that tenure, by the end of that 3-week period where you were supposed to be gathering evidence, people around campus were automatically saying that the president of the college was a Gold Glove boxer. So when you start a little seedling and you plant it and it goes and it grows and it grows, the story embellishes, things get bigger. And if it's driven by a national media outlet, you can definitely understand where it's coming from. But use your head, use your common sense, read the facts. And if anybody bothers to do that, they'll see how ridiculous this thing really is.
Reason will prevail.
Well, it's like I said it last week, and I I don't feel bad about ruining her name or screwing up her name because I don't really care that much to get it right. But you can correct me here. But it was Diana.
Rossini.
Yes, thank you, Diana Rossini,
Yeah.
and the way in which she originally reported the story. Now, let's go back. Let's go back in time. We have to go back, Jack. We have to go back. Um, the first couple tweets are talking about an investigation into the patient. Now, clearly, she was given information by either a source or she got it herself. One way or the other, she looked for the information. Now, she made the conscious effort to A, not investigate all the information, or B, decide to knowingly stagger this information because it started with the Patriots being investigated, video cameras, sidelines. Then you wait a little bit, and then, oh yeah, they got credentials from the Browns, and they said they were there filming a documentary. But the problem is, at that point, the damage is done. It's done. Why not release all that together? Because then it diffuses it at least a little bit, because there's no reference like saying, oh well, this the Rossini tweets. Said that it's 11 out of 12 again, all over again, and again. All you need is just a couple little sound bites and a couple little headlines to shape your entire narrative, and it doesn't even matter. Like, I mean, this is how crazy the hate for the Patriots is. Like, people have like denied science because they hate the Patriots. Like think about that. Like like if I were to sit here and say, if you're someone who believes in evolution, okay, and I was religious and didn't believe in that, and I came to you and I tried to convince you otherwise, very unlikely that you would ever change your mind, because you look at it like, well, science kind of, there's a lot of evidence to suggest science is right. So in this case, the same exact situation, I come to you saying, oh, hey, by the way, evolution doesn't exist, and you were just spawned out of the grace of God. I'd be like, oh, okay. Like, no, that doesn't happen. And that's what happens in this, because Deflategate, you say, oh, if someone would be like, oh, well, actually, the scientific principle that anyone in a cold weather environment is familiar with, whether consciously or subconsciously, knows that this type of weather affects air pressure in objects. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Okay, well, no big deal. Reason will prevail. We're good.
Reason will prevail.
That's right. So so again, but no, people didn't see that. They said, "Oh no, that the ideal gas law, that's not real." What? Like, come on. Like, so again, the absolute hate for the Patriots and this ridiculous like paranoia that surrounds this team, because people, quite frankly, just they're jealous, and they can't understand why their team can't do what the Patriots are doing. Has just completely warped this whole fandom and this whole environment, and it's not going to change anytime soon. The one hope that I get out of this is that the Patriots themselves are going to use this as a galvanizing moment, because you know how they take these things and run with it, and obviously Belichick was reportedly pretty pissed about the whole situation, and that's always not a good thing for their opponent. So we'll see. This will certainly not be the last time we talk about it, and I'm sure there's going to be more and more stupid things. I mean, I haven't even paid attention to any of the morning shows today, so I'm gonna try to avoid those, because again, I'm trying to keep my blood pressure low, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, because we're already half an hour into the show. So
yeah, I know.
But
and look, you know what? There's there's strong language, between us and whatnot. And I mean, but so it's not exactly Eddie Murphy Raw record this morning, but you've heard Ian and I a little bit more animated than we have been in the past this morning. But it really is. It's just it's a narrative it's a story that shouldn't be. Really, if this were any other team, there would be nothing to see. That video would have come out and people would have said, "Oh, there's nothing there. They didn't do anything. Move on." It's none of the. But did you see the Patriots didn't tie their shoes today? Let's do a 3-hour expose on that. It really is. I mean, it's the Patriots. It's gonna be magnified. It's gonna be, pushed to the max. And Ian's right. It's not going to go away. We'll continue to do our due diligence, folks. But that's our 2 cents on the matter. And for the benefit of those that are listening that don't like the Patriots or hate the Patriots or want to hear us talk about something else, we will dedicate the rest of the show to some of the other great NFL slate matchups that happened this weekend, because there were quite a few of them.
Yes, and fortunately for us, Festivus is next Monday, so we will certainly be airing a lot more grievances then. So maybe I'll save it for then and
Oh yes,
let the
yes.
anger
Two
build
two
up.
hours. Yeah. Yep. Let the hate flow through you.
Let the hate flow. Yes, good, good, good. So,
Good.
yes, good. So as you alluded to, a lot of great action in the NFL this past week. We unfortunately we usually do our FPC NFL show Sunday morning, but we had some technical difficulties with with some Mac updates that basically knocked out my ability to broadcast any cameras. So unfortunately, we didn't find that out until the very last second. So we weren't able to do our morning show on Sunday. I was very disappointed because I was ready to roll there because again there was a lot of great stuff heading into the weekend. Some of which was had a lot of playoff implications. We have a basically a mini series between the Titans and the Texans to determine the AFC South champion, and we got a winner of Game 1, which was the Texans, which was pretty good. Um, surprise of the weekend obviously has to be San Francisco. You lose to
Yeah.
Atlanta. I mean, that's look. I don't think anyone is sitting here saying Atlanta is the Bengals. They certainly have talent on that team. So the fact that they're as bad record wise as they are is a little bit surprising. But at the end of the day, they still aren't a great team. So this is shocking, especially considering some of the good teams that San Francisco has beaten this year. And we've talked about it before. I mean, this NFC conference is just basically you just shuffle it up. It's a bunch of names in a hat, and that's basically what's going on. I mean, one week San Francisco was the fifth seed, then they're back up to the first seed, now they're back down to the fifth seed, and I mean, look, we're not just talking about a subtle difference in standard. We're talking about having to play 4 games versus 3, having to go on the road against a team like Seattle or even Dallas. I mean, like as much as we joke about Dallas, like they looked really good last night against the Rams, and
Yeah.
they're
They
certain.
stepped up big time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and look, they're a team that's certainly capable of winning a game. I think again, do I think that they can make it to the Super Bowl and win it? Probably not, but I mean, we've seen stranger things happen. I mean, the New York Giants in 2011 were 9-7, obviously, and went on to win a Super Bowl. Look, those top 2 seeds in the NFC are so very, very, very important, and I think this is a big time loss for San Francisco because again, you have Green Bay won. They're in contention for one of those top 2 seeds. The Saints play tonight. They could further cement their opportunity to get one of those top 2 seeds, and of course Seattle won yesterday. So again, that's bad. And look, it's going to be tough coming out of the NFC. So are you concerned at all with the San Francisco 49ers? I mean, 29-22, not the best game in the world for the offense, but certainly not terrible. It's a terrible time to take a loss to a team that you should beat.
Yeah, I mean, concerned, yes. Panicked, no. I
Mhm.
think there's still way too much talent in San Francisco for this to be an indicator that this team is a one and done in the playoffs. Or I've even seen people saying, well, if they sputter a couple more times, or if they, wither toward the end of the season, they may not even make the playoffs. I don't see that happening. I'd be shocked if it did. Is it possible? Technically, I mean, you look at what the NFC brings to the table and the teams that are playing so well right now, and really, making strong playoff pushes. Yeah, I mean, it's a concern if you're a 49ers fan to see them drop the game to the Falcons. But again, I think you made a great point. The Falcons have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. I think there's been a lot of execution issues this year. They've been dealing with a lot of injury, maybe some coaching decisions that haven't been as sound. There's a lot that needs to happen in Atlanta to bring this team back to prominence, but they have the seedlings to be able to do it. This is not a team that has to tear it down and start over. They can compete if they bring in the right pieces and they right the ship a little bit. So I'm not completely shocked to see the Atlanta Falcons pull out a win. This is a team that can be competitive, and win any game that they play. If I'm the San Francisco 49ers, you have to get back to your basics of the defense. You have to make sure that front seven is ready to go each and every play. That's the strong suit of your defense. It makes your secondary that much better. On offense, a return to running the football is probably their best option at this point. I love Jimmy Garoppolo. I know you do too. We got a lot of affection for him from when he played here in New England. Great kid, hoping to see him do well, and he's had a pretty good season. But the bread and butter of that
great,
defense is the run game. Yeah, it does. Absolutely,
Feels great, baby.
That's right. So yeah, it feels great, baby. It didn't yesterday though.
No,
definitely not. I
not so
guarantee you,
good.
no. No. My paisan went home, had a couple of glasses of red wine, and I'm sure he's feeling the effects. But in any case, what they need to do, I think, is need to bring the ground game back, get these guys more involved. That opens up things in play action for them, and that's their strong suit for the 49ers. So if you're a Niners fan, no need to take a trip up to the Golden Gate right now. I think everything is still pretty good in the Bay Area when it comes to their seeding and their ability to make the playoffs. But you have to enter the playoffs on a high note, and they need 2 big wins going in toward the remainder of the season to keep themselves in that driver's seat and make sure they remind everyone who they are and what type of weight they carry in that conference.
Well, to kind of sum up Atlanta pretty to kind of put it pretty obvious. I mean, look at Julio Jones. I mean, talented, maybe the most talented receiver in the league. I mean, arguably, easily one of the 3 or 4 most talented, best receivers in the league.
Oh yeah, without question.
Hadn't scored since week 2, and that to me is baffling, and that kind of speaks to where the Falcons are at. It's like you have this talent, and then you can't. Somehow Julio Jones can't find the end zone, and that to me is just astonishing. But last night, two touchdown catches, 134 yards on 13 receptions. So right there, you find out, okay, well, Julio Jones, came up big, scored a couple times, and this is the Atlanta Falcons team. I think you should see or expect to see given their talent. So I'm with you. I don't think concern maybe a little bit because there are things that are kind of showing up on the 49ers here and there that you want to get corrected before the playoffs, but panic, absolutely not, because there's no shame really in despite what their record says. There's no shame in losing a close game like that to Atlanta, who, again, is very capable of stepping it up and winning a game like this. So we'll see. We'll see if the 49ers can rebound, but they got 2 weeks to do it and figure it out because, again, I'm pretty sure that they like to get that first-round bye because as much as I love the 49ers, I think it would be tough for them to go 4 games, especially winning a couple on the road to some of the places where they might have to go to go win a Super Bowl. So speaking of Dallas, and this was interesting because obviously one of the biggest storylines about the NFL is the issues with the officiating.
This is not the first time this conversation's
I know. Yeah, I know, Roger. Yeah, we
yes,
talk about
thank
this
you, Mr.
every
Commissioner.
single
we
week.
appreciate it. Yeah.
He's always got to just butt in with whatever he feels like. Goodell bot.
We're thankful the commissioner listens.
Yeah, well,
every morning,
that's true. That's very true, and he's been kind enough not to
we are honored and
request any
grateful
payment
to welcome him on the day of our daughter's wedding.
Yes, there you go. But so there could have been a more of a controversy had this game gone any other direction. But this is something that happens to me every so often in Madden, where you accidentally click or select kick instead of defer, which basically says you're taking you're choosing the kickoff, which gives the other team the option to choose what they want at the start of the second half. Which why would you also be kind enough to kick to them? You would take the ball twice. So this is what happened at the kickoff between Dak, the coin toss and everything.
It is heads. Dallas has won the toss.
Go defense. We want to kick it. Kicking it that way.
You want to kick.
We defer the second half. Yes.
Okay, you're going to kick.
Yeah.
So, obviously he said defer in there, but he also said kick first, and it seemed like Walt Coleman just kind of decided like, hey, we're gonna stick with kick because that's what you said first. Which, again, we're talking about word choice here, but who do you put fault on this? Because this seems like. Yeah, Dak screwed up. I mean, he said the wrong thing. He should have said defer. I mean, because that's obviously, you don't get to sit there and go back and forth and decide. But I also think it was very clear, obvious, just a bad wording on his part. It was obvious that they wanted to defer and kick in a certain direction because obviously if they defer, then the other team's going to take the ball. I mean, they're not going to kick off. So what are your thoughts on that whole situation?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be on Dak to be able to call that correctly. I mean, you're a team captain. You're going to that, that level. You're in there to specifically for that reason. You're the guy making the call. You have to know how to call it. I mean, there's no question about it. But again, there are times where these things are not as clear as a bell. I mean, there's certain circumstances that lend into that. We've seen Matthew Slater, who is as heads up and as dedicated and as great of a special teams captain, and as great at doing what he does. And there have been some questions sometimes about some of the coin tosses and the callings and things of that nature. It can get a little confusing and a little difficult in that situation. Ultimately, it's the job of the official to be able to make the call and be able to keep order and determine exactly what happened and how this happens, because athletes are, they're charged up, they're ready to go, and there's a lot of emotion involved. The official is supposed to be the calming factor there. So yes, I do put it on Dak for not calling it correctly, but I think the official could have handled it a little bit better and be able to decipher exactly what the intention was, because I don't think it was so egregious where Dak was making one call and then reversing it and go, oh, heads, oh, I meant tails, no, I meant heads, no, I meant tails. It wasn't something like that. I think this could have been a little easier determined. So I think there's a little bit of blame pie to be served on both sides of this coin.
Yeah, and I like that. Good. Was that intentional? Both sides of this coin?
Actually, it wasn't. It just kind of came out. It was organic, and on a Monday morning, you're having a couple of extra sips of coffee. Sometimes the brain spires and it works. So that was my one good line for the week, I guess.
All right, I'm out.
That's it. I'm out.
That's it. I'm out. No, this is certainly far better than Jerk Store. No, that was good. I like that. It was very subtle. I mean, it just speaks to your talent and your abilities, because you just know, just so nonchalantly just put out a great pun. So I appreciate you. There you go. I'm practicing myself. I got my it's going on too. But, no, no, like I said, I've been I've been preparing for a potential Godfather discussion, so I have been watching those. But anyways,
absolutely.
Yes,
Little subtle, little subtle
sprinkle it in there.
Foreshadowing there for Shape It Be My Pod right here on Full Press Radio. Godfather 2 and Godfather 3 could be an interesting discussion, folks. Stay tuned for that.
That's very true. And actually, I almost forgot to bring this up, and I'm glad that I didn't, because I didn't forget, because I'm assuming you watched the NFL 100 episode on the tight ends, correct?
Oh, absolutely. And Rob Gronkowski, definitely.
Yep. Well, surprisingly, I'm not going to sit here and talk about Rob Gronkowski. It was actually another little soundbite from that episode that that caught my, let's say it caught my attention.
Oh, yes.
Apparently, Bill Belichick has utter disdain for that song, and
yes, I know. Yeah.
And I love that him and Tony Gonzalez started to sing it, because I understand why. Because if you're getting steamrolled by the Chargers and you have to hear that every other day, I mean, look. During the course of the Stanley Cup Finals, I publicly said I hated Hall & Oates because, guess what? Toronto Maple Leafs played it after every goal, and of course
I still will not play Gloria by Laura Branigan.
No,
the late, great Laura Branigan.
I hate that
no
song.
Disrespect to her, I still will not play that song.
Finished.
Comes on the radio, and it takes every bit of my self-control not to smash the holy hell out of the radio rather than just shut it off. I shut it off because I'm a reasonable man, but my desire is to really just grab the microphone, grab the baseball bat and go Billy Bats on it. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I can't. That song is absolutely ruined. And again, look, I didn't really like it to begin with, so it's not that hard. I love Hall & Oates. I love their music. So to hate them is it hurt me for those couple weeks. Yeah, I mean,
that really is. It's tough to hate something you love. Yeah, that's really difficult. I agree.
To be fair, I took that back almost instantly. I immediately regretted that decision to say that, and I took it back. So
I believe I replied to your tweet that night with an "I can't go for that, no can do."
Yeah, yeah. I got a lot of reaction.
Just goes to show you the level of dementia you're dealing with here, folks, on FPC Radio Live. As if you didn't know already, Ian and I we live on a different planet, but you know what? It's fun. We have a good time doing the show.
Exactly. And anytime I get a chance to play any sort of San Diego Superchargers, I will I will abide, and I saw that.
Oh
I was
yeah,
like,
you know what? The hell with it. Give me a little bit. Give me a 10-second snippet right now.
oh,
We
you
need it to
want
inject some life
one?
in.
You really want one? Oh,
We
okay,
want the
all right.
snippet right
Well,
now. Yes.
as I sit here and delay to try to bring it up, oh, there we go.
Ah,
Oh, there we go. Turn the music up.
there it is.
See, I love this song. How could you hate this song? It's good. I know the song way too well. Dun, dun, dun.
Diego Superchargers.
Yeah, just keep going, Mike. I'll save this clip for posterity. There you go. Charge. Boom, boom, boom. You gotta love the bass line here. Coming away. Okay, all right, folks. We're sorry. I think we've actually just lost a record number of listeners at one time. So I apologize. We will cut that out.
Hey, you never know. People may rather listen to that song than listen to hear us talk. So
that's very
sword.
true. That's very true. I'm gonna go with they'd rather hear us talk. I'm gonna take a chance and say that.
I hope so. I mean, we live in hope. We hope that's the case.
Yeah, we live in something, and it might be delusion and not hope. But we'll figure that out at some point.
I like to think we live among the delusion. I like to think we're the ray of hope among the delusion.
So
actually, I think that's how we should be marketing this show right now.
I think maybe I was it's yet to be determined, but maybe I was a little bit delusional in thinking that the Titans were going to steal this division from the Texans. Now, I'll give the Titans credit; they battled back in this game and made it a game. But for the majority of it, it looked like the Texans came to play last week on the road and. Look, there's still a lot to be determined in this division, obviously because they meet again at the last week of the season. So it'll likely come down to that game if they say both win this week or both lose. So what were your takeaways from that game? I think Houston did what they're supposed to do. I do think Houston is the better team when they play their game, but all too often they can show up and lay an egg. So. I thought they showed up this weekend and fortunately held off the Titans who rallied there at the end behind the cannon arm of Ryan Tannehill, by the way.
Absolutely. No, I mean, the Titans showed me a lot in this game by battling back. I think that's definitely a team that's on the cusp of something that they can really build on. If there any reason this year is not their year in terms of making the playoffs and making that push, they've got a lot of promise on that team next year. I think Mike Vrabel has got that team moving in the right direction. But credit the Houston Texans. They came out in a game they absolutely needed to win, set the tone early. Kenny Stills, 2 touchdowns early. Deshaun Watson, I thought, was very good in this game. I thought the defense came up big when they needed to. So, these are circumstances where both teams knew what the stakes were. The Texans took it to them. A shutout first quarter. I mean, really. I mean, defensive slugfest there, some miscues, but in the second quarter, the Texans really amped it up. I mentioned the 2 touchdowns for Kenny Stills, and to me, this right now becomes a situation where the Texans may indeed be the team that we thought they were. Now, is that to say that they're in the upper echelon or right now in the driver's seat to be able to take it to the teams in the AFC? As a whole, I still think the Ravens and the Patriots are still the 2 best teams in this conference. And ultimately, I think that's how this conference is going to shake out. I think it'll be a battle between these 2 teams for a right to go to the Super Bowl. And that's a toss right now. I mean, you can really, look at it as well as the Ravens are playing. You have to think they're in the driver's seat. They'd be the favorite, and it probably would be warranted at that point. But the Texans are a team that can make some noise. They can string together some good teams. My question with the Texans is, will we see this sustain next week? Because we've seen them pull out big games, play very well over the course of the last, few games here in the season, and then come out and look pretty lackluster. If they come out and finish the season strong, that's definitely a team to keep an eye on in the AFC. If they sputter next week or if they kind of limp toward the postseason, then that may be a team that's ripe for the pickings in terms of a first-round exit. So congratulations to the Texans for winning that game. I think now they're in the driver's seat for the division, but keep a sharp eye on them to see how they respond next week as well.
Yeah, and again, this is just an interesting race, and I think you hit the nail on the head, as they say, or as you say.
Drink up, Miotti Joel.
Drink up, guys. It's 5:00 somewhere. If not, it's 9 o'clock on a Monday morning.
Well, definitely not 5:00 here. I'll tell you what, more stupid crap comes out from all this this Spygate stuff. Ian and I are going to be drinking on the air here. pretty soon.
Yeah. I'm just gonna start by pounding a big tall boy or something like that before every episode, and just kind of give you my
No,
mentality.
we'll be like Bob Uecker from Major League, where he has the big vat of Jack Daniels
Yeah.
next to him all the time.
That, my friend,
Ian's going to be taking a drink. He's going to be dabbing it behind his ear like Euchre did,
Yeah.
because he loves Jack Daniels so much.
I'm thinking about grabbing the whiskey that's currently behind my computer screen, but again, that's for later in the day. I don't, I'm not I'm not drinking yet. It's only Monday. We'll revisit this on Wednesday or Thursday and see where we're at. But no, I like what the Titans did. I like that they were able to come back, and look, they'll have another opportunity last game of the season if things work out. And at the very least, they know they're in this hunt here for the wild card, especially after the Steelers lost last night. So, I look, real briefly, obviously we talked a lot about the Patriots earlier, not on field issues or on field circumstances, obviously, but I was really impressed, despite it being against the Cincinnati Bengals. I was really impressed with the defense, and I saw some things offensively that are very encourageable if you're a Patriots fan and looking for something to build off of, and first and foremost, the usage of N'Keal Harry skyrocketed.
Yes.
Big time. And he made some really nice plays. Probably his best play was unfortunately called back. He made a really nice catch. Look, I thought again, we've been talking about this all season. The numbers obviously don't look flashy, but I thought Tom Brady was really good last night. And given some of the they were moving the ball pretty well. I mean, obviously at the beginning of the game they couldn't get the run game going, and he was under pressure quite a bit. But when things started to settle down and they started to to really get N'Keal Harry involved, I thought you saw a shift in just efficiency. I thought they moved, like I said, I just thought they moved the ball really well, and I saw some things that we just hadn't been able to see, like the touchdown pass in N'Keal Harry. I feel has been missing all season.
Yes. Something
Brady,
like that, where
yeah.
the Patriots needed a guy on the outside to be able to make a play. Harry was able to step up big time and do that. And, Dave Brown, who is a Patriots beat writer for the Concord Monitor, is a friend of myself, friend of Ian's, and just a great journalist, a highly recommended follow on social media. One of the funniest, most subtle, funny, sarcastic, snarky guys that you'll ever see. But he's always spot on in his analysis. And he tweeted out something yesterday that said that if the Patriots start catching some of these makeable passes, then everyone is going to have to acknowledge, absolutely, that everyone is going to have to acknowledge that the offense has figured it out. Drops are such a big part of the reason why this team is having so many incompletions, why Tom Brady's stat line is not as impressive as it should be. It's not scheme. It's not really schematic. It's not anything to do with that. It's not aging players. It's not anything else that's going on with this. It really, truly is just mental mistakes that need to be shored up. Once they do that, this team will be able to figure it out, and you'll see a lot of what the Patriots are capable of doing here.
Well, I didn't even see what the stat line was, but or the snap counts were, but I really don't remember seeing Jacoby Myers out there much yesterday. And again, you talk about
very seldom. Yeah,
you talk about drops, and he had two really big ones. Even N'Keal Harry had, or I'm sorry, not N'Keal Harry. Mohamed Sanu had another big drop on third down yesterday, and
yes, he did.
Or I'm sorry, on fourth down. And you sit there and be like, oh, Tom Brady's look, he's only completing 50% of his passes again. That tells me when people come at me with these quote unquote stat lines, it just tells me you don't watch the game, you don't watch it objectively. You watch it and you just look for things. It's why every Tom Brady incomplete or overthrow, which there aren't really many, there's maybe one or two a game, gets overblown. It's like, wait a minute. Every quarterback has those in every single game, but no one gets the type of scrutiny that Tom Brady has. And again, this is because he's the GOAT, and no matter what, even if people don't want to admit it, this is why they hold him to such a high standard. It's the only reason for it. But I thought he looked really well, really good considering the circumstances. There was still some inconsistency on the line. Like there was a few times where it just felt like they were teeing up on him on third down, especially, and but going back to that touchdown throw, the ability of N'Keal Harry to roll out and get open, and that's the biggest thing to me was the receivers have been having a hard enough time as it is getting open off the initial break and off the initial route. Now, on that touchdown pass, Tom Brady had to move around, and generally when Tom Brady has to move around, it's very unlikely that these receivers are all of a sudden going to get open because, again, it's hard. But N'Keal Harry stuck with it and he followed through with it, and Brady made a really, really nice throw in the back of the end zone. Again, these things aren't going to get talked about. They're going to talk about the one overthrow that he made, but I thought he played really well. That connection is encouraging. I am a little bit concerned about Julian Edelman because I think he's just a walking wounded right now, and this feels like just a Gronk just struggling to get to the finish line in the sense that just trying to kind of patch himself together, and all the credit to him. I mean, he's one of the toughest guys you watch week in and week out. I mean, he's going to play through just about anything. If he can walk, he'll be out there. So, but again, I just hope that at some point in the next few weeks, it doesn't come back to hurt the Patriots because he is such a huge part of this offense. But it is encouraging to see these other guys.
It is. It really is. And they need them to step up. Look, there was the report right before the game yesterday. Mike Giardi of NFL Network reported that Julian is dealing with a tendon issue. And Dr. Jessica Flynn, who writes for the Boston Sports Journal, has an excellent piece out there on this. I encourage everyone, if you're at all concerned about Julian Edelman's knee, read this piece. It's an eye-opener. It does give you best case scenario, worst case scenario. Jess is the best in the business of being able to do that. Her diagnoses are always spot on. So check that out, and that'll give you a little bit more information on Julian Edelman's knee and what this could mean going forward for the Patriots. But it was encouraging to see Tom Brady get a good synergy going with N'Keal Harry yesterday. Myers was used sparingly. I don't know if that was game planning issues or whatnot, but Sanu needs to step up and start making some catches. That really, to me, is a concern if I'm a Patriots fan. But other than that, I thought I thought we saw some explosiveness from Rex Burkhead yesterday. It really surprises me that they're not utilizing that type of on the touchdown that he had. It really surprises me that they're not utilizing that a little bit more. The mismatch on the linebacker being able to break free and get a good burst. And you saw that yesterday, that he still got some explosiveness there. So look for him to be a big part as well.
I'll be honest, I was kind of disappointed he ran that in. I was like, go down. I want Tom to throw it. like I'll be honest, like I said, I wanted him to do it and there's still an opportunity for him. I mean, I wrote about this the other day, and I said this essentially amounts to which twin was born 30 seconds before the other when it comes to breaking Peyton Manning's record. But it would have been nice to have him do it first, or at least tie it first. Drew Brees obviously has an opportunity tonight, and he only needs two to tie, 3 to break it. So hopefully he gets held to one touchdown tonight, and Tom will have a chance on Saturday. But I was sitting there saying, like, no, don't. I love it. This is great. I'm like cheering and saying no at the same time. I couldn't. The emotions.
It was quite the It was
a great run. It was a great run.
Yeah, as Newman would say, quite the conundrum.
Yes, yes, quite the conundrum. But if I had to choose, I guess it'll be a little bit nicer if he has the option or the ability, or the opportunity, rather, to do it at home against the Buffalo Bills. So
do it at home against, exactly.
So we'll see, because that'll be a tough matchup. So real quick tonight, we got New Orleans, we got Indianapolis. My heart's telling me Breeze won't do it, but my gut's telling me he only needs 3 touchdown passes to break the record. So I kind of think he's going to end up doing it tonight, but I'll certainly be rooting for him not. Just hand the ball off to Alvin Kamara. That's fine. Come on, Indy defense. I think Saints are going to win, but I think the Saints will win tonight, and then further, secure their first round bye hopes. But I'm just hoping that it's it's not on the arm of Drew Brees. Let's give it one more week of anticipation and know that both of them will break it. We'll break the record next week, and then we'll see who finishes the season. Before they start going back and forth next year with it. So, well, this was a blast. It was frustrating. It was a little Yeah, got some off my chest a little bit, but
Yeah,
again,
this was very cathartic for the both
yeah,
of us. If any of you hung in there from the time that we went on the air to the closing moments here, we appreciate it very much. It's
yeah.
probably a tough one to listen to for the masses. So thank you
And
very much.
I know what you're thinking when it comes to Spygate too.
This argument is irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly. It's irrelevant. It's stupid. It's such a dumb thing. You know, we shouldn't be doing it, but it's there. It's in the it's in the football world. It's resonating with
Oh,
people now.
it'll remain a story until the Patriots are no longer in the playoffs, or until the Super Bowl, or whenever they get eliminated. That's when the story will go away. That's when everybody will finally get what they want.
Yeah, we'll see. But until then, we know we will be back talking likely something tidbit about this tomorrow. So yeah, so be sure to join us. We will be back tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Of course, on Full Press Radio, Sportscaster, and multiple other platforms as you see us pop up on Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff. So check it out. The replay will air at 2 p.m. today. And of course, you can check out the podcast. Search FPC Radio Live on Google, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, all those great platforms, all the ones that you know, all the ones you haven't heard of. We're there. Check us out. We appreciate the listens and the support. So until then, we will be back tomorrow. We will give you more information on our plans for next week because we're excited for our Festivus show. But we will recap Monday Night Football. We'll probably touch on a few more of these topics from this weekend because there's still a lot more to get to. We just have so little time. So for myself, I am Ian Glendon. Follow me on Twitter. It's at IGLEN31. The man without the video, he is Mike Debate. It is at MDABATEFPC. And of course, follow us on Full Press Radio at Full Press Radio. How about that? So, folks, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Take care.